Hello friends, it's time for another Melvin update. Melvin's making a nuisance of himself. Melvin's hanging out and we don't want him here. He's very annoying and I'm ready for him to be gone, and he will be soon. In fact, surgery date is 2 weeks away. So they're gonna go in there, they're gonna crack my noggin open, they're gonna dig Melvin out, and they think I'm gonna recover quite well. So, been a whole slew of doctor's appointments in the last couple of weeks. I've had multiple MRIs, fancy MRIs, regular MRIs. I've met with that doctor and this doctor and all the doctors, nurse practitioners. There's sort of one big doctor's appointment left where I'm meeting with the neurosurgeon. We're going to take a look at the scans and they're going to map out my brain and talk to me about how they're going to cut around Melvin to get him out of there. So that's exciting. That's super, super fun. Prognosis continues to be really, really good. They think I'm going to be in the hospital for 2 or 3 days. And then if I'm hitting my milestones, they'll send me home. Recovery time, will be many, many weeks, but they think I'll probably be bouncing up and running around in 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm taking it easy. I'm taking some time off of work, and work has been really, really great working with me. I'm going to come back half days for a little bit until I'm feeling good. So as long as all that continues to go well, we're feeling really, really great. As of now, still no long-term impact that we expect as long as all goes well. So my chief complaint continues to be the side effects for all the precautionary meds that they've got me on. The anti-seizure meds are just make me feel real loopy, real tired in these short bursts. I'll sort of get 4 hours where I'm like, oh, and just can't get my brain to function. So I'm doing a lot of lists, lots of notes, and being like, just do the next thing on the list. They've also got me on these steroids that are supposed to help with swelling in my brain. We are trying to prevent seizures, right? That is one of the biggest and best things we can do because there's extra matter in there. It's pushing on things, and swelling in the brain can cause seizures. I haven't had one yet, which is great, but they've got me on anti-seizure medication, which anti-seizure medication, yes, but a steroid to reduce swelling, and man, that's fun. I have a nice rash and I'm like breaking out like crazy, which are all side effects of steroids. You're not supposed to be on steroids for very long, so I'm ready to be off them already. Super exciting. So that's the update. That's the health update part. So if that's all you're interested in, you can like dip out of this video now. I thought it'd be fun to talk about brain tumors a little bit. There's some common brain tumors. I'm going to talk about what I have, what I don't have. Is it cancer? So, if that's interesting to you, I hope that I will be both entertaining and funny and educational. That's 3 things. Both 3 things. I hope that I will be 3 things for you today: educational, entertaining, and funny. And even oh no, this is going so poorly. I can blame it on the anti-seizure meds. See, you're experiencing it in real time. If you wanted the update, you can get out now. Let's talk about brain tumors. Brain tumors. What are they? What are the most common ones? Are they cancer? All of these questions, and maybe a few more, you're going to get answered right now. So that's very exciting for you. Brain tumors come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. The most common one is the one that I have, which is called a glioma, and it is a tumor in the glial cells in your brain. The glial cells are the important ones that are all the good stuff in the middle, that good brain juice in there. The next common one is meningioma, which is a tumor on sort of like the outside sort of skin part of your brain, but something like 80% of all brain tumors are gliomas. They're sort of inside there. They're sitting in the brain matter in the brain stem, so that's exciting. I have a very common brain tumor. They classify them in 4 stages, 4 kinds of gliomas, and they typically just tend to be about size and how invasive they are. So if you find a really, really small glioma in your brain, it's typically a stage 1 glioma. When it gets a little bigger, it becomes a stage 2 glioma. That is probably what I have. And then it moves into both size and whether it has metastasized. We're going to talk about metastasized here in a minute, so if that's a new or unfamiliar term to you, stick around for another couple of minutes. I'll explain it to you. Once the glioma starts getting bigger, we start getting into stage 3 gliomas, stage 4 gliomas, and now we are deep into what we call the dreaded glioblastoma. And one of the big distinguishing features between a glioma and a glioblastoma is whether the tumor is contained or not, whether it's really tight, whether it has a defined barrier. A glioblastoma is a tumor that sort of has all these tendrils wrapped around your brain. It often will sort of get into the blood, will sort of get its own blood flow going in there. It's real bad. They're real nasty. I don't have that one. Those are no good. A glioma, a lower stage glioma that is left unchecked, often grows and can become a glioblastoma. So this is one of the big reasons that they want to jump in, cut out what I've got before it starts becoming a problem. So I am what is likely a stage 2 glioma, and it's stage 2 just because it's a little bigger. It's sort of about 7 centimeters by 5 centimeters by 3 centimeters, and it's sort of like tucked in this side here, like in my prefrontal cortex in here. It's touching on some stuff in there, and it hits on and it sits on the corpus callosum, which is just some nerves that sort of go through and under your brain and connect things. So a little cause for concern there that they might accidentally poke my corpus callosum or some of the other important stuff in my brain. But I have a stage 2 glioma, probably. A lot of this is stuff that, right, we can go in, we don't know until we pull it out. So one of the things that I talked about with a neurosurgeon is they could go in with and biopsy it, right? They could crack a little hole in my skull, stick a needle in there, and take a tissue sample. They're sort of the opinion that they want to take it out anyways. So while we would get a lot more information if we did that first, we want to take it out anyways, and we're going to run all those tests when it comes out. So a lot of this stuff about, like, is there follow-up radiation or chemo, or like what the steps are from here on out, is going to be based on sort of how they pull it out. In a perfect world, they take the entire tumor out, they get as much as they can, and then they're able to close me back up, and the tumor does not grow back. If we've done our job well, if we've gotten it all, and right, this is some of the question too about how much of it can we get without doing damage to the brain around it. And it's looking good so far. It may be that we need to get a whole bunch of that tumor out of there, evict Melvin, hashtag evict Melvin, and then we need to run some very directed radiation to sort of kill off whatever's left. We don't want him growing back, right? That's the whole thing. Yeah, we get most of the tumor out there, but if it is still growing 5-10 years from now, that can cause a real problem. So as much as we can get it now is good. All of it is the idea. So that's really good. A couple of things that we have going for me. The prefrontal cortex, where we're gonna get in here, probably right here in the hairline, and then go in right here. They'll drill a little hole in my skull right here, and then when they patch it up, I'll have some screws in there, which is really exciting. I think that's cool. It's a good place to get into. They can sort of get in very, very well. So we've got that going for me. The other thing which is great is, based on all of the scans, it looks like the tumor is very well contained, right? It has a very clear sort of membrane around it, and this is good because it means that it probably isn't sort of like digging into some of the other spaces around it. So all things being equal, we may be able to just go in there and sort of scoop the whole thing out, get it out, close it up, and be done. Couple things on that I already mentioned. We are up against my corpus callosum, so if that membrane for the tumor is really defined, it might just lift out. We don't even have to do any cutting, which would be cool. And then the other thing that the doctor is concerned about is the language center in the brain. In my normal working brain, the tumor is pushing right up against there. So I had a functional MRI the other day where it was like a regular MRI. They put you in one of those tubes and they run all the sounds. But they had me do a bunch of language-based stuff, a lot of like retrieving words. They're like, what color is grass? And what's that pink tall bird that you know, that you see at the zoo? Stuff like that, where I was sort of grabbing language, and then they were watching the oxygen in the parts of my brain to go, oh yeah, okay, his word centers are there. So the tumor's up against that. We want to be careful about that, but the doctor thinks with the brain mapping that we've done, we should be able to do a good job of not doing any damage there when we pull out the tumor. So that's interesting. That's interesting to me, anyways. So. That's brain tumors, stage 2 glioma, not a glioblastoma, a well-defined membrane around the tumor, which means it should be easy to get out, and it's in a good spot. So that's what's going on with the tumor. Now let's talk about cancer. Cancer. Is it cancerous? What does that mean? What is going to happen afterwards? Cancer is a very ill-defined term, right? What is it? It's a mutation in your cells where it causes cells to grow uncontrollably in a way that your body is not designed to do. So everybody has this going on in their body at all times, right? You've got cells in your body that are misbehaving. They're typically just like very much isolated, right? You don't experience it that much. It's not that big a deal. The fact that I have a tumor in my brain means I have cells that have mutated and they are growing in a way that they are not supposed to. So the tumor, in a lot of ways, is cancer. In cancer language, you'll hear these two terms. You'll hear, is it benign or is it malignant? Benign indicates that the growth of cells, the tumor, is isolated. It's really just those cells that are having the problem. When cancer metastasizes, that means that the mutations are infecting cells around it. So if you've got cancer in an organ in your body and the cancer metastasizes, that means that the cancer cells there start screwing with the cells next door and causing them to mutate. That's really bad. That is when things get nasty. I already talked about this a little bit. That is one of the things that will make a glioma stage 3 or a stage 4, or will turn it into a glioblastoma. Is it affecting the cells around it? Given the way that my tumor is looking on the scans, and the fact that, frankly, I really haven't had that much in terms of symptoms of something like this, they think that this tumor is likely benign, but when they pull it out, they will send it off and they will do some tests on that. They will figure out what's going on. But it's looking like this is a benign tumor, which is good. That's exciting. So that is good for me. That means that we likely won't continue to see growth. It won't impact me in the future. But that is something I will live with for the rest of my life, is going in and going, let's give you an MRI. Let's see if this thing's growing back. Let's see if there's anything else growing in your brain, which I guess at the end of the day is good. You always want to know what's going on in your body. So that's it. That's what I got for today. I hope you learned a little bit about brain tumors, gliomas, glioblastomas, right? Those are, a glioblastoma is a kind of glioma. There's a whole bunch of gliomas. And I've got that stage 2 one, which is a pretty standard one. It's all good. I've got one that looks like it's going to come out really, really well. So good for me. That's exciting. Yeah, I hope that was interesting to you. Listen, there's so much about this thing. I'm learning about the healthcare system. I want to do one of these about health insurance, which I was very afraid of before this whole process. I am very lucky to have good insurance, so I'm excited about that. But in my next update, I might talk about health insurance, so that'd be exciting. Thank you so much. I'm going to put some links in descriptions about what is cancer, gliomas, glioblastomas, in case you want to read a little more. And if you want to help with anything too, I've got some ways you can do that. So check the description, and would love to keep you updated. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a good weekend. Bye.